welcome, welcome. Welcome to everybody that's on this morning. I saw a comment pop up, something about improvisation. I got to go back through and see what you said. So, Stedman, what's up, man? Fleetwood. I didn't understand a couple of them that were in different languages. I'm not quite sure what you said, but just wanted to jump on here, man, this morning and give you guys a little motivation one of the questions I asked in the excuse my phone here. One of the questions I asked in the title is, what am I missing? What am I missing? So I really wanted to ask that question because I get a lot of things asked from a lot of players all the time concerning their plan. What can they do to improve their plan? And one of the things I've learned over the years dealing with myself is that, what is that? Yes, sir, man. I'm back on the tube. But one of the things I learned over the years concerning my plan, one of the key things I was missing is confidence. And you'll learn as you go. Some of you may not lack in that area, but a lot of the times the problem that you're experiencing is a lack of confidence. You're not necessarily getting all the stuff that you need to get out of your plan. Thank you. Thank you. The stuff you're not getting out of your plan because of lack of confidence. And most of the time that comes as a result of comparing yourself to other players or other people or whatever the case may be. And you'll find even beyond music that this thing goes way beyond music. It's really your self-perception. It affects everything you do, including your playing. So when you're, what is that? Oh man, you're still welcome. You're still welcome. But the thing is, like I said, it affects whatever you're trying to do. Because I realize that some people that will watch this, I'm gonna try to block this light that's behind me. But I realize that some of the people that will watch this are not actually musicians, and that's totally okay. I welcome you if you want to share this video with people who are not musicians. That's totally okay. But one of the things I noticed that affect us a lot in everything that we do, in our ability to execute that thing and execute it well, is the confidence that we have in what we have to offer. Because especially with social media, you can jump on social media now and see 100 people doing what it is that you do or something similar to what you do. If you play guitar, if you play bass, if you play keyboard, drums, or if you're a chef or something random, whatever you do, you can find 100 other people who seemingly can do it better than you. And that's most of the time not the case. You have a unique ability, and a lot of times when we realize who we are and our ability to do what we do, then we begin to start executing what it is we do very, very well. And people start looking for that thing that you do in particular, as opposed to trying to get you to be a copycat of somebody else. And that's oftentimes what we find ourselves doing. Anytime you start trying to become a copycat of other people, you'll find that you're not executing to the highest level what you can do really well, and people don't get to hear the real you. People like Jaco Pastorius, Marcus Miller, Victor Wooten, Stanley Clark, all those well-known bass players. One of the reasons why they were so successful, and one of the reasons why they continue to be so successful, even Jaco after death, still one of the greatest bass players of all time, because he found his voice. He found what was unique to him and capitalized on that and didn't try to sound like anybody else. And I think I heard an interview with Marcus Miller talking about something similar. When he first started playing, he kind of had this different thing that he was doing sounding like other players, but it was when he kind of started working on developing his own sound. And that's just another way of saying developing your personality as an individual, and that translate over to your playing as well. So once you started working on developing that sound, it took off for him, it catapulted for him. Now everybody tries to get that slap Marcus Miller tone when they're playing it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people you hear trying to copy that sound, because originals are normally copied. Think about that statement. Originals are normally copied. People want to copy an original. So if original is the thing that people want to copy, why not be yourself? We're already original. We're already created as individuals who are original. We have a unique fingerprint. So why not bring that unique fingerprint to every single thing we do, rather than trying to sound like everybody else? Keyboard players. Let me see who that was. Then I would follow a good friend of mine, C-Dub. If you're not following him, Carlton Whitfield, his name is C-Dub here on YouTube. He's here as well. There's a lot of keyboard players. I don't know all of them that have channels, but C-Dub is one of the first ones to come to mind. Phenomenal keyboard player. I think he's on Piano Clubhouse or something like that. And he teaches as well. So plenty of channels here that you can follow different people. Just type in great keyboard players and see what comes up. So again, guys, I just want to jump on just real quick to kind of get your day started and encourage you to not compare yourself to other people. That's a trap that we easily fall into. If we were to be honest, that's a trap that a lot of us fall into, comparing ourselves to other people. Things to focus on when learning bass, playing church environment. Okay, some things to focus on. Listening. Listening is definitely something to focus on. From the time you sit down to learn the music, and really sit and learn the music, pay attention to everything that's going on in the music, as well as when you finally get to the rehearsal situation for church or whatever. Pay attention to what the other musicians are doing, like especially whoever the band director is, the band leader, like your keyboard player and that type of thing. You want to focus and pay attention to what they are doing so that you can match with what they're doing and you can add to the things that they're putting in the song. Because sometimes, even though you learn a song what seems to be the correct way, people have their own interpretation, and it makes you a great musician to pay attention to everything that's going on. Like, for instance, this progression that I was playing these chords. There I'm landing on the one, but I've been in situations to where a person would take different interpretations of that because we're playing it over and over again. They would play something like even listening to that note that's moving around. Claudia's. Let me see here. I'm missing it. I did a lot of compare myself to other bass. Wow, absolutely. Oh man. I mean, it's like I said, it's easy. It's very easy to do, especially with social media now, because we have instant access to see what everybody else is doing. And our natural competitive nature as human beings, we want to see what everybody else is doing. So it kind of gives us something to shoot for in a certain sense. But you want to be careful with that competitive thing, because there's nothing wrong with a little competitive nature because it keeps you pushing, it keeps you growing, but you don't want that to get completely out of control to the point to where you start to try to beat other people being themselves, because there's some things you're just not going to be able to compete with. Like James Brown, you can't compete with James Brown being James Brown. I don't care what you do. You can write all the funky songs you want to write and record as many albums as you want to record. You're not going to beat James Brown being the godfather of soul. Like, you have to find what your thing is. Even if you do soul music, figure out what your thing, what your lane is in that particular genre or in that particular thing, and maximize who you are, because your different experiences, your different things that you've had to come up throughout your career or throughout your life all go into what you create to become that individual, that unique person or thing that you are. So again, on this little progression I was mentioning about listening to what people are doing. Like here, instead of going back to the one where I did earlier, you can substitute that. Or you can go I'm thinking about what I'm doing. Like, it's a different substitution that you can do, and different people will play it differently. So here, let me play the bass with it. So instead of going to that one, we can land on that that flat 7. So you see what I'm doing here? That's a chord that a lot of keyboard players would play. And knowing how to listen for what note to play over that instead of playing the 1 every time, because if you played the 1 over there, it gives somewhat of a different sound. To me, it's still kind of nice. But learning how to listen to what else is going on, because you might know the song, but if they want to go a different route, this is kind of answering for you people that are just jumping on. Someone asked a question about learning how to play in gospel settings and that type of thing. That really comes down to really listening. You might know the song, you might know every part of the song, what people are playing, but sometimes they do what we call substitutions a lot, especially gospel players. They do a lot of chord substitutions. I think that's something that really kind of started with jazz and worked its way in the gospel. I don't know all of the complete history of how it came to be because a lot of those things were intertwined. But in gospel, in my years of playing, I do know that we do a lot of chord substitutions a lot. So it's something you really want to be listening for. So yeah, so it's just some things you want to be listening for when it comes to gospel music per se. But again, guys, we're gonna be on here too long this morning. I just want to jump on here and give some tips about just what you might be missing. This might not apply to everybody because I know everybody is on different stages, different levels of their playing. So what one person is dealing with, everybody across the board might not be dealing with that. But if you're finding yourself in a position where you feel like you're in a rut, you're not going anywhere, you're not getting what you want to get, you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish as a player, you might want to check, what am I doing? How am I thinking? Am I comparing myself to anybody? Am I caught up in too much of what's going on outside rather than kind of looking inside of me? And that doesn't negate you practicing and growing and seeking more knowledge and becoming hungrier about getting better at what it is you do. That doesn't negate any of that. It just means in the midst of trying to do all of that, don't lose who you are. I'm reading a lot of different stuff. I'm listening to a lot of different videos, all that type of stuff. But in the midst of that, it's all in a quest to learn more about who I am as an individual and how I can pull the better qualities of myself out and get rid of some of the worst qualities that I don't need. Get rid of some of those and grow the things that are going to push me forward. And so in that, I have to do research. I have to do homework because the best thing to do is to get around someone who's already done what you're trying to do, whether that's a player or whether that's just a mentor in life in general. Sometimes you can get inspiration that leads to your playing simply by getting mentored by people who've done what you're trying to do very well. It might sound funny, but it's better to learn. I had this statement that I grew up on: bought sense is better than told. And I get that statement, and if you don't know what that statement means, it's a old country statement. And if you don't know what that means I can tell you something is going to hurt you, but if you don't listen to me and you go and bump your head or scrape your leg or do something silly, you're going to find out for yourself. So you paid for that sense. Well, I would rather, instead of having to pay personally for that experience, I'd rather learn from somebody who's already experienced something similar and learn from what they experienced and take that for myself. That way I don't have to pay for that. It didn't cost me anything, but I've gained wisdom from watching them. You see what I'm saying? If I gained that wisdom from watching them, it didn't cost me anything, but I did gain wisdom and I can move forward in what it is I'm trying to do, as opposed to now bumping my head all the time and learning from other people's, learning from my mistakes. I can learn from other people's mistakes, and I can take those experiences and apply it to what I'm trying to do as a musician, as a creative, as whatever it is I'm trying to do to move myself forward. I can take all of those experiences and move myself forward. So if you are lacking something in some area, check what you're paying attention to. Check and see if you're paying attention to yourself and personal development, or if you're paying attention to what everybody else is doing and you're trying to keep up. Nothing wrong with trying to keep up, but don't lose yourself in trying to be like everybody else. I can't understand the language. Yeah, SIT. I think that's what you're saying. But yeah, these are SIT strings that I'm using, and forgive me if I'm mistranslating what you're saying, but I am using SIT strings. And for the people that ask or want to know, this is a warrior bass, one of my custom warrior basses. 6 string that I'm playing here. The one that you see me normally playing is my 5 string warrior bass. Both of them are equipped with SIT strings. So again, guys, not to get too far off of the point, I just want to get on here and share. And from time to time, I'll get back on here and share little things that have helped me. I would call them nuggets, but these are things that have helped me throughout my career, throughout me learning more about this instrument, me building myself as a player, me becoming more of what I want to hear personally, as opposed to feeling like I'm never getting there. So I'll go back and Google translate some of the comments that you guys are leaving. But again, thank you so much for tuning in with me this morning. I'm going to jump into my day, but I'm going to be getting on here from time to time, as well as giving you more content. And if there's something you want to know about, shoot me a message and I'll be glad to hear from you. Remember, guys, follow me if you want to stay more connected with me. I respond definitely to Instagram at jmorganbass. If you want to keep up with me there, I am on Facebook, but Instagram, I'm probably more likely to see your message. Hopefully, I'm more likely to see your message there on Instagram. And invite somebody. Share this video with somebody if you found it helpful. And I will see you guys on the next broadcast. Thank you so much. I'm out of here.